You've seen the video about the floor mats in the Maverick and how I think they're the first thing you should buy when you get one of these. Another good thing to get is, as you can see, I had this bed lined at the factory. It was back during the time where sometimes it was touch and go whether or not they could do it, but they did get it done. Because this is a unibody vehicle. And if you want to know what that means, I'll show you. Go underneath the vehicle and look up. And if you're in a normal pickup truck, these right here are actually usually C or box shaped rails that are the backbone of the vehicle, and then the bed and the cab in a normal pickup truck sits on top of it. This is unibody, so this is the way your car is. Quite often if you look underneath station wagons in particular, sometimes minivans, you'll see channels like this, but they are really the floor of the vehicle. And what that means is, like up here, that's the bottom of my bed, that's the bottom of the vehicle. This is not a separate frame, it's a welded on U-shaped box metal that literally gives strength to the bed. And if this ever rots out from the top or the bottom, the back end of this vehicle could start flopping around, and the bed, it's going to be interesting to see how these Mavericks go down the road, especially up here in the salt belt, where they put the calcium chloride on the roads and like a spray before all the snowstorms to make it easy for them to scrape ice off, because that stuff just eats vehicles like this. I had it, you've seen the video, I did the spray preservative coating, and I also had it rust proofed at the dealership when I picked it up, both of which cost some money. But as you see, the bed itself is part of what keeps those rails in place and gives structure and rigidity to the vehicle. So with that in mind, about it being unibody and a little bit more needing to be protected a little bit more, what the bed is going to be the weak point for the Maverick, probably the Santa Cruz, Honda Ridgeline. They're going to have this issue of, if that bed rusts, the back of the vehicle could be compromised. People that get rear-ended in these, often the vehicle's totaled because it just bent a little bit, but that's the body of the vehicle. It's not like there's a separate frame the way, like, you know, the old Rangers or something like that, or the new Rangers or the F-150. So bed lining, very, very good idea. Even still, you want to protect the floor of your vehicle, and Muslogy makes this excellent liner. It's not quite as thick as the floor mats, but it is thick enough. I wouldn't be too worried about tearing it up. It has a nice anti-skid surface to it, so stuff won't slide around. It's designed to fold, so let's say you wanted to take it out for whatever reason, it folds easily for storage. It actually comes shipped in a box, basically like that. And they tell you, lay it someplace warm and flat. Really, you could put it in the vehicle, put some heavy things on it to tell you that as well. You can see the things in the detents there in the front. Those are for the anchors that are in the front of the bed. And if you're looking at my bed, you can see it's not really rust, that's more from junk I carried in there, because I use this like a truck. I have hauled furniture, I have hauled scrap metal, I have hauled kayaks, I've hauled bicycles. It's tough, it's strong, but you gotta protect it. This right here, if you don't have a bedline bed, it's just the paint. You really gotta be careful about just even like throwing suitcases in there, or, you know, regular household things you pick up at Home Depot. If you scratch the bed, it will rust. That is the body of the vehicle. It's not like you see these old trucks with the bed with holes rotted through it, but the frame is still strong. So protect it. Get one of these. If nothing else, crawling around in the bed will be a little softer and it'll save your knees. It fits like a glove once it lays down flat. And like like I said, they say put some heavy items on it, let it sit in hot weather. What I like about this is these grooves match the grooves in the bed. I've had plastic liners before in other trucks, and they didn't match the bed, so you lost a couple inches because the bottom was like corrugated, and then it sat on top of the corrugations in the metal. This sits down nice and flush. It's not going to cause you to lose any height, which I have a tonneau cover. This right here gives me protection for my bed. It is, yeah, maybe not softer to lie down on or anything, but it's anti-skid. Things that are in here, especially if you have a painted bed, there's no traction. The bed liner, there's a little bit of traction, but still, it's almost like a hard plastic. This though, it has grip just like the floor mats in there, and being that this is a unibody vehicle, you need to think about protecting the floor of your bed just as much as protecting the floor inside the cab, especially if you're thinking about resale. And the nice thing about this, it's got sort of a rubbery texture to the bottom. I don't think this is gonna, I've seen the plastic ones actually sand into the bed. You get dirt under there, water builds up, it kind of sands through the paint, sands through the primer, sands into the metal, and then the water in there starts to rust it. I did have a bed with a plastic, in my old Ranger, I had a plastic bed liner, and I know at one point I pulled it up and actually did bed liner instead of the plastic. And I found spots where it had sat and kind of worked, and I was through the paint, and it was down to bare metal. And if I'd left that for years, it would have rusted. This, I don't think is going to give you the same, because of the way it fits and just the way it's more rubbery. It's not as, this is easy to lift up, just like the floor mats. If you want to take and wash the bed out underneath, make sure that everything's clean and paint's not bothered. But this is nice, it's very tray shaped, so if you wanted to haul gravel or sand, I don't know if I'd recommend that, but if you did something like this, or grass clippings, it kind of gives you a way to not have junk just building up in the little drain holes in the bed, but instead this would kind of contain it, give you a way to sweep out or wash out. Still gives you access to your tie downs here on the sides, and your cargo box. This came with the truck because it's an XLT, but that didn't have one. Because unlike the bed liner that Ford, the cheap one that Ford gives you now, it's like a plastic one that comes in pieces. I've seen it in like a parts delivery one. I wasn't too impressed. And it covered up the cubby so that if you did want to use it, you'd have to hack a hole in your liner, and then you'd have this odd hole with sharp edges to cut you up when you went to use it. This right here allows full access without blocking the hole, but it does still protect, and definitely something I would recommend from Muslogy. Once again, excellent. You know, it's a little wavy. Give it some heat, give it some time. This will sit right down in heavy stuff on it. It will actually be very good, just because of the way this kind of material behaves when it's warm. It kind of softens and settles. Excellent product. Definitely recommend it, especially if you don't have a bed line bed, or even if you have a plastic bed liner. I say get rid of that thing, put one of these in instead.